ever wondered why you may be losing your hair? Hello, my healthy and successful earthlings. Mihaela Ragush here, naturopath and founder of the Natural Health Podcast. In this episode today, you're going to learn why you may be losing your hair and exactly what you can do about it. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, where we bring awareness of sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for What Would I Do? In today's episode of Natural Health Podcast, we discuss this week's question. All questions are kept confidential. I read them and answer them as if it was me. Hence why it's called What Would I Do Wednesdays. The information provided is not to be taken as advice and is solely for information purposes only. I am not here to cure, treat, or provide medical advice. I'm here to educate and inform you so you will take steps towards optimal health. Please discuss any medical issues and issues with your healthcare professionals. Let's get into today's question. Today's question is, I am a female in my mid-30s and have been losing my hair on my head for the last 6 months. There are parts of my head where there is hair missing. It is very traumatizing. Why is this happening and what can I do about it? Wow, I can just imagine how traumatizing this would be. I mean, losing chunks of your hair in your mid-30s, that is not how our body is designed to work. However, this is what we're going to find out, why this is happening and what you can do, right? But let's first look into hair. The average adult head has about 100,000 to 150,000 hairs and loses around 50 to 100 a day. So we do lose a fair bit. And I guess it's up to us to decide what we're losing, if that is normal for us or if it is abnormal and it's coming out of nowhere. So, look, persistent hair loss often indicates an underlying health issue. So there might be something else going on underneath it, and the hair may just be the hair loss may just be the symptoms of it. So there's medications that can result to hair loss, such as thyroid disease, medical conditions such as thyroid disease, alopecia, scalp infections like ringworm and so forth. I mean, if this is not something that you may have, a thyroid disease, alopecia, or ringworm, then you need to look into this further, right? So essentially, hair loss can also be due to medications, which is what I was talking about earlier. And these medications include any medication that treats your acne, antibiotics, antidepressants, antifungal medication, blood thinners, chemotherapy, as we know, cholesterol-lowering medication, epilepsy medication, high blood pressure medication, hormone replacement therapy, mood stabilizers, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medications, oral contraceptive pill, Parkinson's, steroids, and thyroid medication. I mean, wow, I just mentioned a lot of medications in there. And that's why later when I talk about what I do, it's going to be related to this, right? So, but there's also there's diseases, there's certain types of diseases, there's certain medication, but there is also physical or emotional shock that may trigger noticeable hair loss. So this includes a death of someone. Death usually can cause trauma in individuals, and it can cause this. Extreme weight loss and also high fever can result into this. So it's interesting, those three, if that's something that may have occurred. But in addition to that, hair loss can be due to poor nutrition, hormonal changes, family history. So there comes the G's, the DNA. Pregnant individuals who are pregnant may be losing hair, anemia, so low iron, stress, physical trauma, emotional trauma, and so forth, right? So there's so many things to take in consideration when looking at hair loss. It is not just a one thing, right? So questions, here we go. We've got some questions for you. So the first questions that I would ask myself are, do you have an autoimmune or a skin disease like alopecia, ringworm, or even a thyroid disease, right? Have you taken a biopsy from your scalp to see what is happening there? Has anything been done? Has anything been investigated? Have there been any recent stresses, any emotional, physical stresses that have occurred in your life? Any trauma that has occurred. When looking at it, it's kind of like, when did this start happening? When did the hair loss start happening? What happened around that time that you can remember or recall? Maybe even try and write down like a timeline and be like, okay, my hair loss started in 2018, and then you can be like, okay, what happened in 2018? And then write a few events that occurred that you remember that may be traumatic, right? Do you have any skin conditions, psoriasis or dermatitis, or have you had it in the past? Do you have any thyroid issues, right? Any thyroid issues, hypo, or even on the line? Is your iron low? Do you have low iron? Are you on any medications? Because those medications that I mentioned earlier, they can cause hair loss, right? Family members, when you talk to family members, have they lost their hair at your age? What's your nutrition like? What is your food like? Do you have alopecia? Do you have any ringworm patches? So the question to ask yourself is your hair falling out in patches, or is it all over the place? And is it kind of like just on the right side and that's where it is and it's falling out, or is it from everywhere? What would I do? Okay, here we go. What would I do if I had hair falling out? Well, the number one thing that I would do is get it investigated by a healthcare professional. Get a few blood tests done. Understand, am I on any medications? Do I have any health issues that may be causing this? Write up a timeline of events that occurred when I started losing my hair. Keep note of, is my hair just randomly all over, or is it like patches on your scalp? Because if it's patches on your scalp, it leads more towards alopecia. But please talk to a healthcare professional before deciding this, investigating this. So check if you have any thyroid issues. Get your iron tests done. Do you have anemia? Review I would review my medications. What medications am I on? Are any of these linked to hair loss? I would review my hormones and try and balance them as much as possible. Review my vitamin D levels. Vitamin D are absolutely key. Also look at my diet. Am I having enough protein in my diet? Ensure that I'm also absorbing this protein, not that I'm just taking this protein in, but also absorbing the protein. And then this is silly, but am I using any chemicals or any dyes in my hair? What shampoo am I using on my hair? Dry it naturally. I wouldn't use a hair dryer. These are some of the things that I would do, right? I would reduce washing it once to twice a week. I know some people are like, oh my gosh, I can't deal. I wash my hair every day. But that may be the reason why you actually may be losing your hair. The other thing is also, I would ensure, this is some vitamins and minerals, is ensure that my omega-3 is on point with such things like fish, salmon, mackerel, walnuts, hemp seeds, natto, or even supplementing it, right? Because omega-3 fast nourishes the hair support and thickens and reduces hair loss due to inflammation. So omega-3 is absolutely amazing. The other things, here are some bonuses for you, are zinc, which is found in foods such as pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, chickpeas, cacao powder. It benefits hair follicles health. Also essential cofactors for enzymes involved in hair follicles. Zinc also helps balances hormone if there's an issue with this that's causing you hair loss. B vitamins are dramatically reduced when you're stressed, as this may be causing the issue. In particular, biotin found in egg, liver, nuts, sweet potato and broccoli, which has been used to rebuild damaged hair from over shampooing, exposure to sun and blow drying and so forth, right? Also iron, if there's a link in iron, make sure you have enough iron. Vitamin D also, hair follicles are highly sensitive to hormones, and vitamin D is a hormone that plays an important role in calcium homeostasis, immune regulation and self-growth differentiation. So there are also mentioned drying your hair and sun exposure. These are some things to look into. I would ensure that you have a diary, your hair diary, and keep note of it. Is it during your period that you're losing most of it? Is it during summer? Is it during night, morning? Is it when you wash your hair? Is it just randomly? When are you losing your hair most? And then talk to a healthcare professional to find out what you can do about it. I hope I shed some light to your question, anyone who's listening who may have this issue. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at mahalo.rodriguez on Instagram, and I'll be in touch with you and hopefully be able to answer your questions via the podcast. And remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health.